So, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Lucas Cioffi, President of the Board of the Open Forum Foundation. I was working here with Wayne Burke, our Executive Director, here at the NASA Open Source Summit.
Okay, and yeah, there's a big fat NASA seal behind you at the NASA Ames. And what is the Open Source Summit? What was it aimed at achieving?
So the purpose of the summit was to create space for conversations that needed to be had about open source. There were so many advocates inside the agency, they needed space to connect with each other, build relationships, identify obstacles to successful implementation, and then to discuss solutions.
And a large part of what I saw you doing here was trying to connect the virtual attendees, of which there were hundreds, with the people who were here and what was happening. How did you do that? What were your lessons learned there?
So I was in charge of remote participation. We had hundreds of people tune in via Ustream. We were trying to go to the next level and make this a highly participatory event. So not just collecting tweets, not just a typical chat, but actually engaging people in deeper conversation. We used a very interesting phone conference tool called Maestro Conference. It took the dozens and dozens of people that were interested in deeper discussions and broke them out into small group discussions. And most importantly, we blended the in-person and remote participation together using Google Docs, so the people that were not present were still in the same conversations. They were building on each other's ideas, commenting on each other's ideas using Google Docs. So all in all, we had something like 66 solutions to an identified list of 25 obstacles to implementing open source, and it was very exciting. Part of it was an experiment. We didn't know how well it would be received. If people have chat, Twitter, Ustream, Google Docs, an HTML web page just to see the agenda, but we were impressed. This was a tech-savvy crowd, and they really gravitated towards the tools and were collaborating at a very in-depth level.
So this is not just about tweets, thankfully, right? I mean, I tweeted a little bit while I was here. That's one way to reach out to that side of the audience. What other metrics did you use to measure participation? And what about the softer things, like collaboration in terms of discussing policy, discussing roadblocks, et cetera?
So NASA had some great tools for measuring the metrics of how far tweets reached. It was quite impressive, some things I'd never seen before, reaching like over 1 million views, maybe even multiple millions of views of the information we were pushing out through Twitter. So Twitter served us very, very well in pushing information and getting feedback, getting ideas injected in the summit. But here we were going for a very deep discussion, and so we had many different breakout sessions in person, and those folks got a chance to debate and dialogue on these various issues, and these debates and dialogues were also happening in parallel online and over the phone. We thought that one of the key things is we did not want remote participants to feel like second-class citizens, so we didn't put a speakerphone in the middle of an in-person conversation. Instead, we created dedicated spaces for them using Maestro Conference over the phone to connect with each other. So they're all on the same level, they're all in the Google Docs, building on each other's ideas and commenting there.
Anything you do differently next time?
There are a bunch of things, and many of these suggestions came out of the participants, the remote participants and the in-person participants. One thing that we learned, and we were able to pivot between day one and day two, we changed the setup of the room inside the main room in person, and we made it much more dialogic. These tables were then turned into rectangles rather than long rows of tables. We had people going to different rooms for breakouts, but then we just made the breakouts happen in the main room. People were able to see the energy, people were able to focus on the output, and remote participation-wise, there are a lot of ideas that we're still processing, but some that come out would be keeping people's expectations set from the very beginning. We had hundreds and hundreds of people that wanted to come in for remote participation, but really they just wanted to watch the live stream. What we should have done is communicate that there were these very rich opportunities to engage. We had about 60 people all told throughout the summit engaging in small group discussions over the phone, groups of 4 to 6 to 8 people. So we would communicate that differently, that this is not a typical summit, this is a focus forum. With the Open Forum Foundation, that's our purpose, is to create space for these deeper conversations with federal agencies. This is our 10th one now. We learn from every agency we work with, and we look forward to doing many more in DC and across the country.
All right, well, I look forward to seeing you back in DC. Lucas, enjoy the sun while you're here.
Okay, thanks, Alex.
Take care.